You're listening to Prosper in the Kingdom, the podcast where faith meets practical strategies to help you become healthy, wealthy, and wise. Join hosts John Cleaver and Wendy Lee as they share insights to equip you in your journey toward abundance, spiritually, financially, and beyond. Just a reminder, every situation is unique. The content of this podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as specific financial or medical advice.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Prosper in the Kingdom. I'm Jon C, and I'm here with the ever amazing Wendy Lee, and we just both got back from a trip to Mexico. It was an amazing week of strategy, kind of setting the pace for 2026, and really kind of evaluate how can we reach more people out there. And so we've got some great things around the corner, but that's not why we're here to talk about today. What we're going to talk about today is something that's near and dear to both of our hearts because we both came out of that W-2 mindset that I guess we'll call it the cubicle farm. We broke free. And so we're going to talk about the W-2 trap and the truth about building real wealth for you and your family. I mean, most people think that the path to wealth is exactly what I was told. And Wendy, chime in here too. I don't know if you were told that, hey, go out, get a good education, land a solid job, work hard, save, and retire, right? Oh. And, you kind of limp over the finish line. I don't know. Is that a similar path that you heard growing up?
Yeah. Actually, we were on our trip. Somebody asked us what we thought about college and, or asked you. I was just there. But, and I was thinking back to when I was in high school, and it was my senior year, and my AP biology teacher or AP anatomy and physiology teacher asked everyone in the class where they were going to college, and literally went one by one, every single person in the room. And this was an honors class, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm not going to college. And I will never forget her response was basically okay, well then good luck being a loser, and it was,
you're gonna hate.
I left there going, man, I didn't think for me, my parents didn't go to college. So yeah. I didn't grow up in kind of that household that everybody was like, go to college,
yeah.
Go to college.
Yeah.
And I wound up going back and getting my degree. I graduated when I was 30. But it was to accelerate my W-2 jobs. And then here we are,
Yeah. I bet, and that teacher, probably hindsight, and no knock to teachers. I loved all my teachers, but she probably, after making that comment, wishes she had your payroll and lifestyle that you have now. So anyway, so what we're going to talk about today is really, how do you break free from that? What is the lie? What's holding you back as a W-2 and what the reality of that is? And we're going to talk about, I don't want to talk about median incomes in the United States, right? The median income is about 62,000, which, if you're making 62, you're probably, you've got a dual income, hopefully. If not, you probably have a roommate or you're living in a studio or something like that. Because let's face it, it's expensive in America now, right? But we're going to be talking about the top third of wage earners here in the United States. And that's what I mean by that are people that are making 90,000 to 150,000 a year. So once you kind of cross that threshold, you're in the top third of income earners in the United States. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking top 1%ers, 5%ers, but you're in the top third, right? The top 35, 33%. So oddly enough, though, people, and that may seem like, man, that's a lot of money to you, but those people, let's be honest, and I was one of them. This is going to be a lot of my personal story, are living paycheck to paycheck, right? You've got taxation, you've got inflation, lifestyle creep, all of those eat into everything before you can even get ahead, right? Yeah. And here's why. Hear me out on this. W-2 income is the most heavily taxed form of income in the United States. Mm-hmm. W-2 income pays the most taxes out there. Okay, so know that. Now, I'm talking about traditional W-2. If you've got an S-Corp and you're paying yourself a W-2, that's not who I'm talking to. I'm talking about regular Americans out there working at JOB, right? Which is jail operating as a business, but I came up with that later. But, you look at that, you pay taxes even before you actually touch your paycheck, right? Mm-hmm. In state and federal, maybe even local taxes. Meanwhile, business owners investors are out there. They earn first, spend next, and then pay taxes last. The difference is right there, what separates, comfort, getting by, it's good enough, from actual financial freedom. Can I get an amen on that, Wendy?
Yeah. Yes. No, it's good. It's good stuff.
So, you look at that, and the whole goal is the system wasn't built to make you wealthy. It was to keep you compliant. That's why you go to class, you're taught certain subjects. That's why you're taught to sit upright, raise your hand before you speak, ask permission to go to the bathroom. And I'm talking about not your cubicle farm, which maybe that's the case, but I'm talking about when you're a little kid in school, and it goes all the way through that. And you're taught, indoctrinated into that system of, hey, go to college, get good grades, go to college, get a job. And then you got mountains of student loan debt, and you're scratching your head going, WTH just happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trashing college, right? I think that if you're in a technical degree, then college is needed. I don't want my doctor learning how to be a doctor on YouTube, right? But if you're talking business, things like that, yeah, if you're going to go the corporate route, it's going to open the doors for you because they know that, hey, this person's bought into the system. He's trainable. She's trainable. They've got the bachelor's degree, which, by the way, I have 2 of those and a master's, and I'm scratching my head going, what the heck? But, you look at that, instead of building that reality of wealth and financial freedom, it keeps you depending on a paycheck instead of building business ownership. So that's what we're really going to talk about today. If you only lived on income, you're working in someone else's system rather than your own, right? You're literally selling your life 2 weeks at a time. And that, call it whatever you want, but that's the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
So let's jump into that cash flow reality. When you kind of break that down, Robert Kiyosaki, met him, awesome guy, very smart. So talk about what he has taught us.
Yeah. So he talks about the cash flow quadrant, right? Which is, think of it, a box divided into 4. And he shows these 4 different sections, these different areas you can fall in. Number 1 is your employee. So that's what we're talking about, W-2, right? Trading your time for your money. You go in, you clock out. You get paid for the hours that you work, or if your salary, you get paid a set amount no matter how many hours you work. But you got to show up. And then what a lot of people do to try and get out of that employee space is become self-employed. Self-employed and business owner are not the same thing. So that was one thing I had to wrap my mind around as well. But so self-employed are going to be your people that they now own a job. So it still doesn't have leverage. They're still trading time for money. And I actually have a girl I've been working with that is a hairstylist, and she makes her own money. She's self-employed. She does not have a boss, but she's like, I don't get paid unless I'm doing hair. Right. So she's self-employed. She's still trading time for money. It's just, she's creating her own money. And then you move into the other side of the quadrant, which is where you want to be, which is business owner and investor. And business owner owns a system that makes money even when you're not showing up in your time, right? Like we got paid on one of our businesses while we, right on our way back from Mexico. And so that's when your system is working for you. You're leveraging time, you're leveraging systems, you're leveraging, people to bring in income while you sleep. And then that investor is where that money is going to start multiplying itself. And so most people are spending all of their time on that side of employee and self-employed, trading time for money because that's what you're taught, right? But the wealthy, they just move over to the business owner side and investor side. I love this example. John, we read this in our book club in that book, The 5 Wealth Secrets. And it gave a super simple story of a kid who was mowing yards, right? Mowing yards for money, handling his money the right way. And then he's like, hey, I have so many yards, I need help. So then he hires an employee to help him. And then he's like, yeah. And then he's like, man, I have all these clients coming in. I need to hire some more people. So then there's people doing yards and he's not there, right? So now he's become a business owner because other people are making him money while he's, just selling. And he's got other people, 4 or 5 people out there. And then he became an investor. He started investing in other people to go out and launch their own franchise of his system. And he got his money making money. And then he invested in other ways. But that's kind of how you move. But most people get stuck on that self-employed piece. And so the wealthy people, though, move to that business owner investor. And that side of the equation is where duplication happens, where systems, and then you get that compound growth. So the goal isn't to be self-employed. It's not to walk away from a W-2 to be your own boss. It's to build a business that can run without you. So
say that again. Say that again.
Your
I want
goal
people to hear this.
Is not just to be your own boss, but it's to build a business that can run without you. And then that's, you go to that parable of the talents, or the mina, they call it in Matthew 25, right? God blessed the one who multiplied what was given, not the one who buried it. So that's, a parable telling us like God wants us to multiply. So any thoughts?
There you go. There you go. And that's the thing. It's, you look, sorry, I was waiting for a little more there. So, and that's the thing. I mean, but the real thing is, and I was a W-2 for years. I played that game, right? And if you're listening to this, you're a W-2, you're probably thinking it's the promised land. That's where it's going. This is what they train you all through school and college, right? But look how many college graduates, if you're a college graduate, chime in. I'd love to hear from it. How many college graduates, number one, can't even get a job for 6 months, a year out of college, right? Number two, the degree that you got, are you actually doing it? Probably not, right? So you went and got this degree, all this training on something, and you're doing something else because you took whatever you could find, right? Because the job market, that's what the corporate world is. And now you start adding in AI and everything else, and a lot of white collar jobs, right, are going to disappear over the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. Mark my words. So let's talk about why most W-2 earners never make that shift, never make that jump, and write these down if you can. Number one is false security. I remember when I first went into the self-employment world, and sorry if I'm loud, I'm just excited about this stuff. But when I first kind of stuck my foot into entrepreneurism and decided, hey, I'm gonna fire my boss and go and do my own thing. Best conversation I ever had. But I didn't do that out of the gate. I started as a side hustle and developed it. Okay. But it's a false sense of security, right? With why W-2 owners don't jump in. Number one is a false sense of security. They think it's a safe job. They think it's a real job, right? Yeah. That paycheck feels safe, but it's fragile. I'm going to tell you right now, I got laid off not once, not twice, but 3 times over my corporate career. Always a top performer, always delivered on my KPIs. It wasn't you, John, it's us. We've readjusted, or we got acquired one time, or they roped me in to come and work for them and said I didn't have to move. And then a year later, a new management came in. Well, no, we need you here. You need to move. Not moving my family. So I got to the point then I'm like, okay, now I need my exit strategy. But that comfort, right? That steady income blinds you to how replaceable you really are. I mean, you've heard it before. If you died at your desk, they would have your job posted before you went into the ground. That's how replaceable you are. Just hard, cold reality, right? Yeah. So one layoff, that safety net disappears. And guys, I went through 3, and I want to tell you right now, it sucked. Okay, just point blank. So that false security, you're not safe in your job. Number 2 is that fear of failure and judgment. People are terrified what others may say. Like, oh, what the heck is he thinking? I had that, right? You hear YouTubers out there, and this is the big one, right? They mock, network marketers. And I want to tell you right now, Cashflow Quadrant, Rich Dad Poor Dad, his first book, Robert Kiyosaki said there were 2 amazing ways that you can make and build a passive income. Number 1 was real estate. And number 2, not in any order, just the 2 top ones, network marketing. I thought network marketing was a scam. And I'm like, okay, Robert Kiyosaki's a smart dude. Let me start looking into it. There are good and bad and everything. Just like there are good and bad employees on your team, good and bad employers out there. There are good and bad network marketing companies. Find the right ones, do the homework, do the due diligence, but don't be a punk. Listen to somebody on YouTube saying, oh, that's a scam. Why are they doing that? Because that gets clicks. That gets clicks. And what it does is it feeds, you're afraid, you're scared, you're unsure of yourself. So it's like, it gives you an easy way out. Oh, I was going to do it, but that's a scam. Or, oh, I tried it and didn't really work the system and I failed because it was a scam. But here's the deal, right? No one who's winning spends their life mocking people who are trying. Hear me on that. No one who is really winning is spending their life mocking other people who are trying. Okay. So keep that in mind. The lack of financial education, that's another one, right? Here's the deal. You were indoctrinated since your kindergarten year, first grade. Get the gold star. I'm dating myself now. You guys don't get gold stars on the little whiteboard.
I loved the gold stars.
I did too, right? You were trained to please your teacher, to please your boss since you were in kindergarten. Okay. Earn money. Don't manage it. Don't multiply it. You can always earn more. That's what we were taught. And the Bible says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Okay. Hosea 4:6. And that's the whole reason we created Prosper in the Kingdom, right? Where we are trying to set his people free. We are trying to show you that there are so many ways to make money out there. There are so many entrepreneur activities you can be doing. There's so many ways to get your time freedom back where you don't have to travel and do all this stuff and you can actually stay with your family, right? Mm-hmm. Here's the reality of it, though. Financial ignorance is more expensive than any business failure out there, right? Mm-hmm. So that's number 3, lack of financial education. Number 4, boy, I am fired up. Number 4 is comfort and lifestyle creep. I did it. Make it, when you hear people and oh, fake it till you make it. What? Oh, you got to look the part. Go out and rack yourself up in debt. And that's where some people in MLM, if you're working with a network marketer, leader or something like that, that's telling you to fake it till you make it, go buy the clothes, put it on credit card, pay for the trips on credit cards, they are setting you up for failure. And that's part of the reason some network marketers get a bad name. Yeah. Okay. I actually started my side hustle in a network marketing company. Was it perfect? No. But they taught me a fantastic business, taught me, how to go and help people, how to work a system and leverage a system, because I didn't want to spend the money on a franchise, right? And that's really what a lot of them are franchises. But at the end of the day, I used my heart, I used my personality, I used my moral compass to decide, okay, this is how I'm going to run. Because at the end of the day, I'm an adult and I'm going to take ownership of it. Okay. And so I had a fantastic experience. And that was when I first started out. I've since parted ways with that company and gone out on my own, but it was a great experience. And I met some great leaders. But number 4 is that comfort and lifestyle creep, right? Is income rises, your spending rises, right? I got to get a bigger house. I hate the Joneses next door, but I got to show them I'm making more than I are. Let's go buy that boat. Let's go add more bills to it. Oh, I can afford it. And that's the other thing. Middle class is taught what? What's my monthly payment? I can afford the payment. Sorry. Yeah, exactly. Right. You got all these bills and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I'm up to dead in my eyeballs. If you remember that commercial, and now you're too afraid to risk anything that might shake your lifestyle. So you stay in that life sucking job, right? Which, like I said, it's a jail operating as a business, JOB, and they're going to pay you just enough to be just over broke, JOB. And you're working for the weekend because if you don't get to take the weekend off, you're going to jump off a bridge, JOB, right? So I can't speak highly, and don't get me wrong. There are a lot of good companies out there, right? But you've got to decide, is that the path you want for your family? Okay. And you've got to make a choice. And then lastly is the time excuse. I'm too busy. I have too many distractions, but I can make sure I'm there to watch, Game of Thrones, from end to end. Or, hey, I'm taking a couple of days off. Stranger Things 5 is finally dropping, which, hey, I've got a passive income business, so I will be watching some of that. But I will be watching it all day, right? You go into the scroll hole. You know what I'm talking about. I think the average time that guys are spending in the bathroom now is 45 minutes for a number 2, right? Wash your hands. But it's one of those things that it's like, you've got the time. If it's important to you, you've got the time. And if you can invest 10 hours a week, that's what I did, to change your life, why wouldn't you do that? Yeah. Because of all those other reasons. So the real fear isn't failure, it's responsibility, right? Owning your own business means you can't hide behind a paycheck anymore. Mm-hmm. That responsibility is also what is going to unlock something that is more powerful than any dollar bill, and it's freedom. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about it. I want to dive in a little bit more about that network marketing, the passive income piece. And like I said, I looked at it a little bit. And at first I was like everybody else, no, that's a scam, da, 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 da. You can see all the stuff in Reddit. Reddit's a joke. But let's dive into that one, because I know that's your forte, that's your background. So preach it.
Yeah. I actually, when a network marketing business was first presented to me, I used the actual words, I have a real job. And I was really proud of it.
A real job.
And then, hey, P.S., my real job that let me go without warning, with a small little severance, and that really didn't give 2 craps about me. Turn around 2 years later and made double what I made at my real job in a network marketing gig. So and there's scammy companies out there, but the model of network marketing is powerful because it brings in that leverage component. So when it's done right, it's a low barrier to entry. So what does that mean? Like, yes, franchises, great, right? You can plug into a model that's already existing, open a McDonald's and it's plug and play, but it's a lot of money to get started and your income's not super high, honestly, when you get started. But for a low barrier to entry,
and I'm going to interject here. It's because it's a business, right?
Right.
Startup businesses, franchises, right? They don't make money the first year. They're not, they may make some money, don't get me wrong, but they're not in the black, so to speak, their first year.
They're not profiting.
That's a business. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
So people think with network marketing, oh, it's a scam and all these things, whatever, nobody's making money in it. People are so quick to give up. And then other people out there listen to, the people who quit as the foundation. And anything out there that you're going to do, anything out there is going to require effort. And also there's, as far as a way to get started as an entrepreneur, I feel there's no better way than network marketing, because most companies you can start with zero investment and you can be profitable, like in the black month one. If you put in the work, and there's typically systems that you can plug into that they teach you exactly what to do. And then all you have to do is get good at something that everyone needs to be good at, because it's what runs the world, and that's called sales. But it's what can move people from that employee side of the quadrant to the business owner, because network marketing is duplication with people. From the very beginning in network marketing, I focused on recruiting. I wanted people. Yes, customers are great. Okay. But I was like, I saw the power of leverage. In fact, what made me say yes to network marketing was going to a Damon John seminar. And he said, you'll never get wealthy with a salary job. You have to have multiple streams of income and residual income. And I was like, oh, how do I do that? Network marketing. You can have residual and passive income, meaning you plug into a company that has a product that you buy over and over every month. It's residual. And then you build a team and they're doing sales as well. And you get to leverage the sales that they do. We have a team that does hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. We don't do that, right? We personally do a few thousand, but our team collectively does hundreds of thousands. And that's where the power of network marketing comes in. Franchises will duplicate systems, investors duplicate capital, and MLM duplicates people through education and through leverage. And the wealthy understand that duplication is the secret to multiplication, right? So you've got to have those systems and the people, the human capital, and eventually the financial capital to multiply. And God blesses multiplication. He talks about planting the seeds, right? And planting for the crop. And so when we teach others and lead well, we can build something that provides that value. And then that's what stewardship is. And so I think for me personally, moving from never seeing my family, I was traveling literally from Monday to Thursday and every other weekend doing conferences. And I was never home for $70,000 a year. Still felt broke all the time. Then got into network marketing and was a six-figure earner within a year and a half, and multiple six-figure earner a year and a half after that. There's no way I could have done that in any other industry. And I grew as a person through all of that. And then now, if only I had the financial education that we now teach, I'd be way further ahead, right? But that's going back to what you were saying, John, and you're on mute just in case you want to come back on. But you've got to not increase your lifestyle as you increase your income. You've got to learn how to leverage the income as it grows so that you can build the life you want.
Yeah, and let me just add on to that too. So the truth about network marketing, right? And you mentioned a couple of things about the hierarchy and building a team and all that stuff. And that's one of the things that really kind of weirded me out at first when I first started really diving into it. And I bought into all the BS, right? Oh, it's a pyramid scheme. And then I had somebody actually sit down and explain, okay, well, why do you think it's a pyramid scheme? So I'm like, well, all the people at the top make money. And he's like, okay, are you the boss of your company that you work for? And I'm like, well, no. He goes, okay, explain how yours works. I said, well, I'm on a team of, 5 people and blah, 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 blah. And it was literally the CEO makes more than the guy under him, the senior vice presidents, right? Who make more than the VPs, who make more than the managers. Right. Corporate is a pyramid scheme, guys. Okay, just wake up to that fact. And that's fine, like I said, but just call it what it is, okay? And you've got to hope to God somebody dies on top of you in order to get a promotion in most cases, right? And, so that's one thing. And then looking at, like Wendy said earlier, there are good companies, there are bad companies, right? So interview, find something to do. And it doesn't even have to be network marketing. You pick your own thing. But again, if you go out and start your own thing, and if it's just you, guess what? You're not a business owner. You're self-employed. You own a job. You stop, the money stops, hands down. And that's why it's so important. If you haven't read that book, Cashflow Quadrant, you need to. It's a great book that really kind of, Robert Kiyosaki's a smart guy. He does a lot better explanation than I'm giving you right now. But that's something that, you really want to dive into. So what's next? How do I break out of this? How do I break out of this? And if you're sick and tired of always being on call, of working more and feeling like you deserve more income-wise, put your money where your mouth is and go out and don't do it, but look at what are some opportunities out there, whether it's a franchise, whether it's starting as a little something or other. But, again, look for a system, look for good people who are training you, not just throwing you to in the pool and say sink or swim. But here's the deal. Keep your job for now. That's what I did. Okay. I worked my side hustle for a year and a half before I fired my job. And I'm going to tell you right now, I was working for a hedge fund contractor. Okay. I was buying 120, 130 single family homes every month in the Dallas and Houston areas. Okay. I was paid very well. Now, my boss, great guy, love him, don't begrudge him at all. The last 6 months I was there, I netted him $3.4 million in sheer profit to the bottom line. That's when I realized I need to go and do my own thing because I was doing all the work. Sounds like a pyramid. So you look at that, it's like, okay, hey, let me go and show something where there's no cap for me. So I found somebody who was going to teach me an intro into financial services. And I'm like, I don't really know that industry. I've been in banking, I've been in hedge fund and all that. I know that side of the money, but I don't know how, planning works. And we'll teach you. And they did. And I had great trainers, right? And so I was making, I'm not going to share it, but I was making multiple 6 figures. Let's just put it that way. That was my income, right? In my W-2 job. Senior executive vice president, man, it was great. But I was working 70 hours a week away from my family. I lived in Nashville. I was working in Dallas and Houston. So I was gone Monday through Friday, right? So that's not what I wanted. But I needed something that, hey, I want to continue to earn income. I want to build something, but I wanted to build something for me. So I started out 10 hours a week. 18 months later, I fired my boss. Best conversation I ever had. And it sounds like, oh, that's you fired your boss. I bet he was upset. No, he was actually really happy for me. Why? Because he was an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He understood it. And he said, you got it. And we still talk today, right? So again, what are the next steps? So right now, keep your job, but leverage outside of it. Find something that you can jive with, that really kind of vibe with, I guess is a better word. Treat your side hustle as your freedom plan. Shift that mindset. Your job is there to pay your bills while you're building your path to freedom, right? Number 2, find mentorship. Get with a good organization and learn from people who have actually succeeded. Avoid the hype, right? There's so many people out there. And one chucklehead I watched on YouTube was talking about, network marketing is a scam. And I was with this company and they taught me to lie and, that I was making all this money. I'm like, okay, first of all, dude, own that. That's on you. You said that was okay. You lied to your friends for 2 years. You're a fool. And I hope your friends see through that. But my point is, find some good membership from people who actually succeeded. Avoid the hype and chase wisdom. Do business with what aligns with your heart and the biblical perspective, right? Number 3 is leverage the systems. Don't reinvent the wheel. That was my big challenge out of, I know what I'm doing, right? No, if it works, why reinvent it, right? So leverage that duplication, whether it's network marketing, real estate, digital marketing, whatever the case may be, create that income that doesn't depend on your presence. Because if it depends on your presence, you're self-employed. Remember that, right? Invest the surplus. So many people, treat money like it's a seed. Don't eat it. Turn around, reinvest it in your business, invest it in your future wealth, right? Invest, invest, invest. Use part of it. We've got a great video called the Money Split. That's a program we teach. If you're interested in that, reach out to us. We'll walk you through it. But we've got a great video on YouTube that you can actually, just search it and it'll walk you through how to do that. But invest the surplus. And lastly, don't forget where you came from and stay anchored in your faith. Okay. Because at the end of the day, I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how much, you're the big man or big woman on campus, right? You're going to have to answer. Okay. You're going to have to answer. And so God gives you the power to create wealth. He wants to pour greatness into you. He's already given you the spark. He's giving you the opportunities, but you've got to take action and pursue them, right? Wealth creation is not greed. It's stewardship. Realize that you've got your role to play. Realize that it's not all about how much crap I can buy. Let's be honest. Most of us, if you buy something, you're not even using it, 6 months later, right? Build wealth, show others how to build wealth, prosper in the kingdom, and make sure that you're sharing that knowledge with others. So Wendy, close us out.
Yeah. Well, like Jon said, you don't have to go quit your job. I think that's, I love Jim Rohn. He talked about let your job pay for your life while you build your dream. And so keep that W-2 job, but make sure if you're not, that you start something on the side. And if you have something on the side and you need to increase your income, figure out how to get those mentors in your life, or coaches, or, correct income streams that align with what you're doing already to maximize, and learn how to get your money right. Because you can make all the money in the world, but if you don't know how to manage it, then you're going to fail as well. So, but at the end of the day, the W-2 life was designed to make you useful, but not free. And so you're created for more than that. So take the first step. Ask us if you need some advice. We have several different opportunities we could plug you into that we've vetted and we do ourselves. And so, but yeah, and go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to share that too.
Chiming in?
I'm saying I want to chime in. So again, I'm on fire today. So we're actually hosting a business overview event next Monday. So I'll put the link in the chat. Register. Show up, don't show up, that's on you. But talk about, okay, God puts opportunities in front of you. I'm going to put this one in front of you. No, I'm not saying I'm God. That's not what I'm saying. But I want to put it out there for you guys. And then we also have, of course, if you're looking at finances, and ask yourself, am I where I thought I would be right now? Am I thought I would be where I would be financially back in the day? Okay. Or if you think you should be ahead, it's time to take action about it. So come join us Monday. You'll hear about that. We've also got our 3M Wealth Academy. It's a framework course that we're doing, and you can actually use that to earn money. And there's a whole video that talks about that. But, again, just a reminder that W-2 life is not safe, period. And your life is probably good enough, or maybe it's not. But if you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck, if you're tired of just getting by, if you're tired of saying, no, kids, we can't afford that, right? And I'm not saying give your kids everything, but you know what I'm talking about here. It's not going to change unless you make something happen. That's just the cold hard facts of it. So it's time to take action. But again, Wendy, thanks always for being this and kind of keep me in check today, because I'm fired up about this. But hope to see you guys on Monday. Again, we'll put the link down below, and we'd love to hear from you. If you've got a success story, we'd love to interview you. Right? If you have a transition from a W-2 to self-employed business owner, we'd love to hear from you. Maybe we'll have you on the show too. Anything else to add, Wendy?
That's it.
All right, guys, go out, be happy. And one last thing, if you are a W-2 person and you got a friend or a family member who's going to try to start a side hustle, don't rain on their parade, man. Just because you're not able to do it, or you're afraid to do it, or you're locked in your W-2, or maybe you love your W-2, that's okay too. But show nothing but love and support for them, man. They're trying to go out there and make something happen for them families. And if you truly love them, support them in that. All right, guys, have a great day, and we'll talk to you next week on another Prosper in the Kingdom. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Prosper in the Kingdom. If this episode added value to your day, be sure to like and subscribe. And don't forget to share it with someone who could use the encouragement. For more resources, head to prosperinthekingdom.com. Let's continue building lives of purpose and abundance, one step at a time.